The art of saying no without guilt. Have you ever said yes to something? A favor, a project, a weekend commitment? And the second the word left your mouth, you felt your stomach twist with regret? I was standing in my office last spring, nodding along as my boss asked me to take on yet another task, when that exact feeling hit me. It was a Friday afternoon, my inbox was a war zone, and I was already stretched thin with family stuff, soccer games, a leaking faucet, you name it. But there I was, smiling, saying, "Sure, I can handle it," while inside I was screaming, "Why can't I just say no?" Sound familiar? That moment when you agree to something because you don't want to let anyone down, only to realize you're the one paying the price? That day I left work feeling like I'd betrayed myself. But it wasn't until a quiet conversation over coffee changed how I saw saying no that I realized it's not just about turning people down. It's about reclaiming your time, your energy, and your peace. Let me tell you how I learned to say no without the guilt, because if you're like me, juggling life in your 30s, 40s, or 50s, this might just change the way you navigate your days. I've always been a people pleaser. Growing up, I was the kid who'd share my lunch, help with everyone's homework, and never make a fuss. It felt good to be the one people could count on. But by my late 30s, that habit had turned into a trap. I was saying yes to everything: extra shifts at work, volunteering at my kids' school, hosting family dinners, even helping a neighbor move furniture on my one free Saturday. Each yes chipped away at me. I'd come home exhausted, snap at my husband over nothing, or lie awake at night worrying about how I'd get it all done. The worst part? I felt guilty every time I even thought about saying no. Like I was letting someone down, being selfish, or proving I wasn't good enough. That Friday at work was a breaking point. The task my boss dumped on me wasn't even urgent, just another report he wanted just in case. I spent the whole weekend grinding through it, missing my daughter's soccer game and barely sleeping. By Monday, I was a wreck, resenting my boss, my job, and honestly myself. I kept thinking, why can't I just set a boundary? Why do I feel so bad about putting myself first? A few weeks later, I was grabbing coffee with my friend Lisa, who's one of those people who seems to have it all together. Great career, happy family, and somehow time to actually enjoy her life. I vented about the report, the missed soccer game, the way I felt like I was drowning in everyone else's expectations. She listened, sipped her latte, and then said something that hit me like a lightning bolt. You know, saying no isn't about rejecting someone. It's about choosing yourself. If you don't, who will? I stared at her, half expecting some big secret to follow, but she just shrugged and added, "Next time someone asks you for something, pause. Ask yourself, do I really have the bandwidth for this? If the answer's no, say it. You don't owe anyone an explanation." I'll be honest, I didn't believe it was that simple. I thought saying no would make me look lazy or rude, especially at work. But I was so tired of feeling stretched to my limit that I decided to try it. And over the next few months, I figured out a few ways to say no that didn't leave me drowning in guilt or burning bridges. The first thing I started doing was giving myself a moment to think before answering. Instead of blurting out yes on autopilot, I'd say something like, "Let me check my schedule and get back to you." It was like hitting the pause button. One time, a coworker asked me to help with a last-minute project. Normally, I'd have jumped in, but I took a beat, thought about my already packed week, and emailed back, "I'm swamped right now, but I can point you to some resources if that helps." To my surprise, she was totally fine with it. That pause gave me space to decide what I could actually handle, and it made saying no feel less like a confrontation. Another thing I learned was to offer an alternative when I could. Saying no didn't mean leaving someone hanging. It meant redirecting them. Like when my sister asked me to host Thanksgiving last year, I knew I didn't have the energy for a big family gathering. Instead of just saying no, I said, "I can't host this time, but I'd love to bring a couple of dishes if you're up for having it at your place." She was happy, and I didn't feel like I dodged my family. It was a way to stay connected without overloading myself. I also started being honest, gently, but firmly. I used to think I had to make up excuses like "I'm busy" or "I'm not feeling well," because a flat-out no felt too harsh. But I found that simple honesty worked better. When a friend asked me to join a book club, I said, I'd love to, but I'm trying to carve out more time for my family right now. She respected it, and we stayed on great terms. Being upfront made me feel stronger, like I was owning my choice instead of hiding behind a lie. The hardest but most freeing thing I learned was to let go of the need to be everyone's hero. I used to think saying yes made me indispensable, like if I didn't step up, people would think less of me. But one day my boss asked me to take on another just-in-case project, and I heard Lisa's voice in my head, "Choose yourself." So I took a deep breath and said, "I'm at capacity with my current workload, but I can prioritize this if we shift something else." I braced for pushback, but he just nodded and said, "Fair enough." That was it. No drama, no judgment. I realized I'd been carrying this fear that saying no would make me seem weak, when really it showed I knew my limits. Looking back, that conversation with Lisa was a turning point. I still say yes to things that matter, helping my kids with homework, showing up for my husband, taking on work I'm excited about. But now I say no when I need to, and I don't let guilt run the show. My days feel lighter, like I'm not carrying the weight of everyone else's expectations. I'm present for the moments that count, like cheering at my daughter's soccer games or just sitting on the couch with my husband, laughing at some dumb TV show. If you're feeling stretched thin, try one of these ideas next time someone asks for more than you can give. Maybe it's pausing before you answer or offering an alternative that works for you. And if this story hit home, hit that red subscribe button to catch more like it. Or share it with a friend who's struggling to say no. We're all learning how to protect our time and energy, one small choice at a time. Here's the thing to remember. Saying no isn't about closing doors. It's about opening space for the life you want to live.